Thank you, Lisa. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many of you. I'm Yannis Barros, a performance marketing manager at Ministry of Supply, a Boston-based startup. Question for brands: who is not completely in-house pay channels? So those of you who raise your hands may be facing barriers to doing so, that I hope I can clarify that it isn't too hard. But for those of you who aren't sold on the in-house model and are using an agency, you are likely to be dissatisfied with the level of transparency that the agency is providing to some degree. Quick question, is there a clicker up here that I can use? Thank you. Appreciate it. I've been in part of the two in-house processes now, one successful, one debatably so, with keyboard experience in in-house search, social advertising, DSPs, and media planning. I'm now tasked with tying together and building the funnel at Ministry. So we were born out of MIT in 2012 to invent clothes that is scientifically better. So 4 garments came from this in Aero, Apollo, Kinetic, and Velocity. 4 platforms with a unique value prop each. And I'm including AOV here to convey that it's a luxe product, which means building out the consumer journey is a must. Here's a 30-second ad spot with the promo code for 25 off purchases over 100. If you like what you see, and we have women's too. There is a women's ad that is shot for shot the same thing. Please roll the clip.
Take a look at the old man, beating up the wrong guy. Old man, wonder if you'll ever know who's in the best-selling show. Is their life on Mars?
Music is not, but thank you. So in bringing everything in-house, there are a few things to consider before you move a muscle, and this is a very, very lean model for a small startup of about 12 people trying to drive a high return on ad spend. The first is administrative. Generally, can you bring in one marketer for every 2 to 3 million in spend for the year? Also, are these marketers trained in their respective channels? 1 to 3 years experience each, I say, as managers, and I say what may seem like a low number to you because the game is flipped on its head, what seems like every 2 to 3 years anyways. So what was best practice in 2016 most likely is not best practice now. A few nuances. Your team may be able to tag team awareness depending on the level of exposure to awareness media buying. And 2, your display manager may be able to captain social, and I'll dive into that later. And lastly, hire an ops guy before you do any assistance. You'll find that you have a lot of wasted hours having a media buyer without the skill set of an ops guy trying to fix things on the back end. The second thing before you move in-house is a high-level overview of each channel. So where are your strengths and weaknesses with each? So working alongside scientists, we were inspired to come up with a means of where we stand on this paradigm for each channel. So our primary focus is incrementality. Otherwise, creative alignment. Is the upper funnel aligned with the mid-funnel? Is there continuity there? And with scale, are we converting at a desired CPA or ROAS in direct response? And if not, how can we restructure? So starting with the upper funnel. The goal here is to fuel and stabilize direct response channels through building brand equity. And some of you may think, and it's common thought around the small company D2C space, my ROAS in display was poor and I have social doing well. But the truth is this drives direct affiliate brand and organic traffic that converts later on. And the higher the price point, the longer the consumer journey, we need display prospecting as an introducer. So whether you're operating on a black box predictive segment, just retargeting display with no visibility, or your agency is managing display and they're able to get off a lot of spend because your KPIs are looser here, you can fight the fight towards contextual relevance to build brand equity through this here template. So what we're going to do is bring on a DSP. We're going to spend what will presumably be 10% of upper funnel spend in retargeting, and we're going to use the site transparency tool to see where our visitors go. And based on this list, we'll build out a whitelist. Those that perform well, we split out into their own strategy groups. We move those and upgrade them to PMPs, then PG deals, and we use the performers to inform our direct-to-publisher buys, which in turn will be used to inform our awareness buys. And this is where we'll also gather high-level data about our customers to inform targeting and give us direction as we incorporate OTT, CTV, and whatnot. Creative consistency. Throughout this collection of ads, you do want the same creative theme throughout all the way down to the broad audiences of social to create that continuity between the upper funnel. And scale. Display is a high-risk channel, so to diversify alongside your contextual targeting, you're going to have your share of data-driven campaigns in market segments, geo campaigns, native, go on for days about what you can complement contextual relevance with. You'll also find that you'll increase your reach if you monitor frequency and viewability. Moving down to the mid and lower funnel. Allocations to watch. Sorry, I lost my back. There we go. Moving down to the mid and lower funnel. Through social advertising, where I'm talking mostly about Facebook, Instagram, with lots of reliable data and automation for marketers. Allocations to watch. Retargeting budget needs to be watched in conjunction with display retargeting. It should add up to no more than 20% of ad spend. Agencies, or ours in particular, wants to get what looks like efficient spend off, but if you ask me, the 50% or 40% of spend that is retargeting is largely not incremental. So what we can do now is take that budget and reallocate it to prospecting. I mentioned lookalikes here because I suspect Facebook hops in the path of demand-based channels with the strength of its lookalikes. But that is a conversation for another time. And creative consistency, does your creative in your broad audiences align with that of display? So revisiting that theme. Efficiency. So be sure to keep everything as broad as possible and trust that Facebook will optimize within your prospecting audiences, given that you have the right guardrails. So you need an interest and behaviors audience, and you need to complement that with a lookalike audience at 0 to 5% max. And that's all. Agencies overcomplicate things and limit scale through exclusions and segments. And frankly, through exclusions, you lose opportunity where exclusions are not the end-all, be-all for those who convert. We use bid caps as a guide to say this is what we'll pay for a customer. And on the other hand, campaign budget optimization will optimize towards the highest performing ad set. So in this case, it would optimize between the lookalike and the interests and behaviors audiences. And we can use an ad set minimum or maximum to kind of limit how much we can spend on that lookalike. And lastly, search. This is the channel I actually have brought in-house at Ministry. Everything else is within the next 30 to 45 days. When I arrived, the agency-managed account structure looked a lot like what Google says is best practice in 2019. Incredibly broad non-brand campaigns meant to convert, but almost contradicted by the amount of suppression the agency added, effectively reducing our reach and opportunity. So at the end of the day, given the amount of data defined as unknown that flows through, I'd rather leave the segmentation up to long-tail keywords versus Google signals. So what the agency also did not consider in a narrow scope manner is they were optimizing off of time lag data, which fails to credit search as a first interaction in the long journey that we have. So conclusively, in a wide market with a niche product, we have more of a chance scaling through long-tail keywords. In a model based off of single keyword ad groups, but not exactly single keyword ad groups, and having only marketed to men in the US, we were able to meet agency revenue volume with less than 40 keywords at work. So we'll continue to test, optimize off of position-based data for the time being, and honor that search is a medium of discovery until we invest more in display prospecting. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Yanni. And Yanni's going to stay up there because now we have our panel. And this is really, as I said, we were talking all in-house or agency, and this is kind of